Hi, I'm Jordan Salcido for ehow.com. Today, we're talking about champagne and sparkling wines in general. If you want to spend a bundle, you can. Champagne is delicious, but you don't have to. The thing that all sparkling wines have in common, they all have bubbles caused by carbon dioxide. Sometimes that happens naturally, in the case with champagne. Sometimes it's added, in the case with Andre and stuff that you can buy at the drugstore. The goal of champagne and sparkling wines is to capture that carbon dioxide. There are more expensive ways of doing that and less expensive ways of doing that. Prosecco, example one, is a delicious sparkling wine that is such a great value from Italy, from northeastern Italy, crisp region. It's from the Prosecco grape, also known as Glera. And what they do, instead of going through this long process of champagne, they decide to do they have a still wine, they put it all in a tank with some more sugar, some more yeast, and then they keep the tank pressurized. They create the second fermentation in tank. They keep it pressurized so that all that CO2 gets captured, and then they bottle it directly from that pressurized tank. So Prosecco is crisp, it's fresh, it's delicious. A second type of sparkling wine is Cava. Cava is made in the exact same way that champagne is made. It's made from different grapes. It comes from the Penedès region in Spain, which is on the eastern side, right on the coast. The three main grapes here are Macabeo, Parellada, and Xarel·lo. This is one of my favorite producers because this house has actually been making Cava since before Cava was even a region. The major difference between this and champagne is that this spends less time aging on the lees than champagne does, and also it's made from different grapes. Third example of an alternative to champagne is Cremant. Cremant is a sparkling wine made in France from any region other than Champagne that is made in the exact same way that champagne is made. It can be made from a range of grapes. This is a Cremant de Bourgogne. So this is made from Chardonnay and Aligoté, but it's made in exactly the same process that champagne is. Cremant is made in Bordeaux, it's made in the Loire, it's made in the Jura, it's made in many regions in France, and it's really one of the great value wines. So here I have three different types of champagne. There are many types of champagne, but these are three good examples. Here we have Dom Pérignon. Probably most of you have seen this bottle somewhere. It's one of the great champagne houses. It's enormous. They do a large amount of production, but they're really all about quality. Also, they use the three major types of champagne grapes. It's Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and a grape called Pinot Meunier, which means Miller's Pinot. It's because it looks like it's dusted in flour. So this is a blend of all three grapes from one of the major famous champagne houses. This is a champagne made by a small grower producer. So whereas Dom Pérignon sources its grapes from lots of places, this producer is a great example of a small little champagne house that manages its own grapes, its own vines. Also, it's grown in a sub-region of Champagne called the Côte de Blanc. It means the white slope, because the slope is actually white from all this chalky soil. Chardonnay, the grape Chardonnay, loves chalk. It's like peas and carrots. Chardonnay and chalk, they just go great together. So this is a 100% Chardonnay grape. Whenever you see Blanc de Blanc on the label, that means a white wine from white grapes. So 100% Chardonnay from the Côte de Blanc, small grower producer, really crisp, really, really refreshing, and very, very mineral driven. The third type that we're going to talk about is a rosé champagne. So in France, France has lots of laws. France has a law that you cannot make rosé by blending red wine and white wine, except in champagne. Champagne is the only exception. So this is a champagne made from Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, and it is a blend of white wine with a little bit of red wine added. It is rarer to see rosé wines from Champagne, but they're great because they have a little bit of extra fruit, a little bit of extra richness and body, and they make excellent pairing wines. for courses like a roast chicken. People don't really think of using champagne for food pairings. They think of it as more of a special occasion drink, and it doesn't have to be. Champagne is a great wine that goes with so many types of food. All right, so let's open one of these. When you're opening a champagne bottle, be careful. There is a lot of pressure in each bottle. This is the wire cage. Every wire cage has about 5.5 turns. You always want to keep your hand on the cork at all times. Keep your hand covering the cork, because if this pops out, you do not want it to shoot at anyone. And then you just very gently twist the bottle and leave your hand still until the cork comes off. Ideally, in a restaurant, you don't want it to make a popping sound unless it's a celebration and you want the drama. Also, another way, we're not going to demonstrate here, but my favorite way to open a bottle of champagne is with a sword or a saber. You take it and you literally run the knife up there's a little rim where the two halves of the bottle fuse together. You take a knife, you run it up the side, and the cork pops off and it sprays champagne everywhere. It's fantastic. So let's try some of this. This is my favorite Cremant from Burgundy. Alsace also makes amazing Cremants. Check out the Alsatian ones because they put things like Pinot Blanc and Riesling in them. So this is one of my absolute favorite champagne substitutions. It's made the same way as champagne from very similar grapes, mostly Chardonnay, a little bit of Aligoté, which tastes very similar to Chardonnay. And it's just lovely and elegant. It's refreshing, it's crisp, it's very bright. It's a great aperitif. It tastes like toasted wheat and fresh lemon, a little bit of mineral, sort of wet stone, also some golden apple, some red apple, and it's just a fantastic, versatile wine that I recommend as a champagne alternative. I'm Jordan Salcido. Thanks for watching. Please come join me for a glass of sparkling wine at Lotus of Siam in New York or on ehow.com.